Hello, and welcome back to the podcast where you are invited for lighthearted conversations about things that matter as you seek to live your most meaningful, beautiful, and joyful life. I'm your host, Dr. Edie Wadsworth, and I hope you enjoy your stay here at the House of Joy. Hi, dear ones. Welcome back to House of Joy. It's episode 216, and we are talking about steps to creating a grand vision for your future, living really more in the big picture of your life, zooming out from all the daily problems, the daily circumstances that worry us and frustrate us, and really keeping in mind like what you really want your life to be about, what really matters to you. And I think when I am able to do this, I enjoy my present moment so much better. I read a quote recently. I can't remember the exact quote, but it's by Dan Sullivan. And he said, if you want to build a better today, if you want a better present moment, you need a bigger vision for your future. You need a grander outlook on what your future is about. And I know I've read things like that from the scriptures too, that we do need a vision. We need to remember what the big picture is. And I think so often in so many areas of our lives, it's so easy to get lost in just the daily grind. Can I get an amen? It is really easy to get lost in the daily grind, to get lost in the stresses and the pressures of today, and to forget what really matters to us, what we really want our lives to be about, who we are going to need to become in order to fulfill our own vision for our future. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today. We're going to talk about several main areas where you can think about this in. So I'm going to give you some questions to think about and some areas of your life where you can really think about this question in. I actually, let me share a quick personal story. I just got back from Pittsburgh. So I went to Pittsburgh yesterday. Me and my daughter, Emmy, woke up at like 3 a.m., flew out to Pittsburgh to be at my daughter's going away party because she's getting ready to move to New York City. So if you haven't listened to the podcast very much, I have a daughter who just graduated from dance college, Ellie, and she has a dream to be a Broadway dancer. And she has had this dream, you guys, for so long. I can remember when she was in high school and she wanted to homeschool in high school so that she would have more time to dance. We had homeschooled, off and on. And she's like, I think I want to go back to homeschooling. And that way I can devote so much more time to dancing. And I remember when we first went to a meeting with a counselor to talk about her future, she told him she wanted to go to dance college and she wanted to be a Broadway dancer. And he looked at her like he thought she was kind of crazy. Like, basically, I think he was thinking in the back of his mind, don't you want to do something more practical? But she has held this vision for herself for so long that this is what she wants to do. And she's been making plans for it. She has been to New York, I don't know, probably 10 times in the last year doing auditions. She's gotten several jobs in different places. She just spent the summer in New Hampshire from one of those auditions in New York. And she's now finally moving there. So we get to the going away party. So we flew up there so that we could drive her car home. And then she's going to leave from there, go to New York, not have a car. So we were driving her car home. And I was fine. It was so glorious, the visit that we had with her. She's so precious. And Emmy and I just had a ball celebrating her. And her boyfriend, Nick, is also moving to New York. He actually is going to grad school at Berkeley there. And so the party was for him and her, and his parents threw this party, and they're so darling. Everything was just so darling and glorious until Mama gets ready to leave. And it just hit me. I don't know. I mean, I've said goodbye to so many of my kids on so many different occasions. And this one just felt hard and different. It felt like losing her all over again. I'm going to cry if I think about it too long. But I just completely broke down and lost it when I was leaving her yesterday. And I didn't stop crying, I don't think, until we got to West Virginia. But it was one of those like heave sobbing where I couldn't stop crying. And I just felt the whole array of, the emotions that you feel. And I'm so proud of her, but also it just felt hard for my mama heart. But I've thought about her so often when I think about this sort of having a grand vision of your life. It's like no matter what she's doing, she has held this up for herself for so long. Okay, yes, this current situation feels hard, but also my dream is to move to New York City and dance on Broadway. Okay, I'm dealing with an injury right now, or I'm dealing with this, or we haven't been able to find a place to live, but she just keeps holding the vision up for her life. And it's been such an inspiration to me. And I have been pretty good at this over the years. I remember when I first got over my past and stopped feeling sorry for myself about my past and started believing that maybe my best days are ahead. And I remember when I started teaching my clients that, like, what would happen if you believed that your best days are ahead, that there's still a grand adventure out there for you, that there's still something amazing for you to do? And when you believe that, it makes it so much easier to keep going today, to get in the nitty gritty of today and to really take action and to show up powerfully in the way that you want to. And so I've been learning this over the years, but I see so often still areas in my own self where I forget. Like, for instance, we are raising the most amazing, adorable 11-year-old that we adopted when he was 6. And raising kids is tough, and you're in the in between years, right? And you're like, things aren't going exactly as I thought. I want to be imparting these principles. I want to, remember God's calling on his life. I want to remember to pour into him. But so often it's just so easy to get down in the muck and the mire and the stressed about every day that we forget, like, oh, he was created for a purpose. He's going to do amazing things in his life. I have to keep the vision of his life in the forefront of my mind too. And it's interesting because when I do this for him and when I do this for myself and when I continue to remember the purpose that I'm here and what really matters to me, I show up in such a bigger way in my life. But it's so easy to forget. So I want to give you some thoughts around this today. And I want to ask you, if you are living with a clear vision of who you could be, what you could accomplish, who you could impact, who you could become, or are you just struggling in the, day to day circumstances, stresses, frustrations, worries of life? And it's so easy to do that. But I want to give us a little reminder today that having a clear vision for your life is so important. It gives you hope for tomorrow. It gives you so much more energy and determination to actually show up the way you want today. So, we're going to cover a few areas where I want you to think about this in. And the first area that I want you to think about this in is in your personal life, in your own health, in your own physical health, mental health, emotional health. I want you to think about this for you personally. What is your vision for yourself personally? Now, over the last 10 years, you guys, I have literally watched my health transform. I am so thankful for the work that I have put into my physical health, my mental health, my emotional health. It's crazy because as I was crying and sobbing on the way home yesterday, it made me so thankful that I've gotten to a point where I can just be with my emotions. I can hold space for myself to just have a cry fest all the way home. And I'm not embarrassed that I cried in front of everybody. And when tears come, I just let them come and I just feel the emotions that I feel. And for me, that's been a huge transformation for a person who was a stuffer and a pretender, like a no, I'm finer. Yeah, I've said that so many times. I'm fine. I'm fine. But I've, really have gotten to the point where I can be with my true emotions and I can allow them to be there and process them and appreciate them and see how much richness and color they add to my life. The same with my physical health. I've gotten to a point in my physical health where I'm so much stronger than I was. And when I think about my vision for the future, I can imagine, like, what if for all the progress that I've made in this area of my mental health, my emotional health, my physical health, what if I'm just scratching the surface as to what's possible? What if in the next year, the next 5 years, I get so much more resilient and so much stronger and so much healthier? What if I operate with so much more energy than I'm even operating now? And I love to think about, like, what if I'm just getting started? What if I'm just scratching the surface for what I'm really capable of? What if the emotional capacity that I have now doesn't even hold a candle to what it'll be like, when I'm 60 or when I'm 70? So I love to think about it in the realm of my personal life. The second area that I love to think about it in is in my relationships. And I love to think about the future of my relationships. On the way back from this road trip with my daughter Emmy, we had such a great talk this morning. I told her, I said, talks like that where you're really raw and vulnerable and powerful and you really you're willing to hear yourself say things that are hard, and you're willing to be a compassionate witness to yourself, and you're willing to be vulnerable with the people you love. Like, it's so rare to have conversations like that, to have relationships like that. And I feel like I have been able, similarly to like physical health, to do this in my relationships over the past few years, as I've been able to be more present in my life and more passionate about my own life, is that the way I show up to relationships is so much more vulnerable and connected and intimate and powerful than I have before. And then I ask myself, like, what do my relationships look like in the future? What's it going to be like in 5 years? I spend my Fridays with my grandbabies, you guys, and I love those little boys so much. And I think about them and I pray for them. And when I'm with them, I try to cultivate things that will help them remember their time with me, where they could sense my love and my presence for them. And I think about what's that going to be like when they're 5, when they're 10 years old. And I can imagine a future, relationships with Stevie, with my kids, with my grandbabies, with my clients, that feel so deep and so connected. And again, even in that realm, what if I'm just scratching the surface? So ask yourself, what would it look like to 10x the intimacy, the connection that you have in your relationships? What if you haven't even scratched the surface for what is possible? And I love to think about this also as far as as purpose and impact in my life. I love what I do, you guys. I lead the most incredible group of women. I love Life Mentoring School and what we've created there. I love our certification programs and the coaches that we train there. But what if we're just getting started? What if I can't even fathom the impact that little yes that I said almost 5 years ago to to creating that program? What if we haven't even scratched the surface? What if the people that we're meant to help, what if we haven't even touched the number of people yet that we were meant to help? And I love to think about the impact and the purpose and meaning that I've been able to bring to my life. What if we're just getting started in that realm too? The last area that I want you to think about is time and wealth. And I don't just mean financial wealth here, but how you spend your time and how you spend your resources, how you invest in yourself, how you invest in other people, how you invest your time and your resources in other people. And what if you haven't even scratched the surface of that either? What if you're going to be 10 times more productive a year from now than you are now? What if you had, double the impact or 10 times the impact by working less and taking still a lot of time to just enjoy your life? And I like to ask myself, what if, as I increase my own impact in the world, as I increase my own income in the world, as I increase my own generosity in the world and love in the world and purpose in the world, what if that makes my relationship stronger? What if that makes everything in my life better and stronger and richer? And I love thinking about, even as amazing as my life is right now, I love thinking about what would it be like if we're just getting started, if we're just scratching the surface, if the future is so bright, and the life and the impact that I'll be able to create in 5 years or 10 years, it won't even hold a candle to that. And I just want you to think about this for your life, because I think it's so easy for us to get stuck in the day-to-day grind, for us to get stuck in the worries and stuck in the frustrations, and we forget why we're here. We forget what's important to us, what really matters to us. We forget that there is a big, beautiful future ahead, and really cultivating that vision of the future where we can see ourselves living a life that is so robust and so full and so abundant and so joyful and so impactful and so purposeful, where we create these relationships that bring so much life to us. So I want you to ask yourself, could you use an upgrade in the way you see your future? And if you can, I want you to go through these areas that I've just talked about and do some journaling and decide on purpose that you are going to create a grand vision for your future, and you're going to do it on purpose. And I promise you, when you do that, it will make every single day better. It will make today more energizing, more powerful, more impactful, more meaningful. All right, you guys, have a great rest of your day. Love you so much. Bye.